Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're doing something a bit different. We're taking a really close look, almost like a forensic look at our social media habits, that constant scrolling.
Hmm.
But here's the twist. We're not really focusing on the content, the memes, the news feeds, whatever influencers are doing.
Right.
We're looking at the structure, the medium itself, and the really deep kind of hidden psychological wiring it plugs into.
Exactly. And you really can't talk about this without bringing up Marshall McLuhan, his big idea. The medium is the message.
Yeah.
The format itself is the key player here.
That's it. That's the absolute heart of it, isn't it? It means the actions themselves, like the endless scroll, those instant notifications popping up, the way we kind of perform for likes and comments.
Yeah.
That whole process, it actually changes our brains, our behavior, way more than any single post we see.
Hmm.
The format literally molds the mind.
And this is where it gets, well, really fascinating for me. We're connecting McLuhan's ideas about media directly to our deepest psychology, what we're calling psychogenetics.
Psychogenetics. Okay, break that down a bit.
So basically, it's where our deeply ingrained emotional programs, some possibly inherited, meet modern science, like epigenetics. You know that feeling your hand just reaches for the phone, like automatically?
Oh, yeah, even when there's no buzz, no notification.
Exactly. That's a program running. So our mission today is to dig into the, let's say, ancestral psychogenetic roots of that reflex, and then, crucially, give you some specific tools from the Emotional Cipher method.
The Emotional Cipher method.
Yeah, it's a structured way to consciously spot these unconscious emotional programs and, well, start rewriting them.
Okay, let's ground this a bit, because it sounds maybe a little out there, but there's actual data, right? I remember reading that something like, 80% of our emotional habits?
Up to 80%, things like that. Constant need for validation.
Yeah.
They're heavily influenced by programs set up really early in life and potentially, inherited across maybe 3, even 4 generations.
3 or 4 generations.
And it gets even more specific. Think about susceptibility to stress, to trauma, things social media can definitely poke at.
Right.
That susceptibility can be inherited up to 400% stronger if your ancestors went through severe, life-threatening trauma.
Hold on, 400%. That sounds huge. Can you explain that a bit more simply? How does, say, my great-grandmother's really tough time translate directly to me feeling anxious if a post doesn't get enough likes? That seems like a big leap.
Yeah, it sounds like it, but it's not about inheriting a specific memory. It's more like inheriting a biological predisposition. See, trauma can leave these things called epigenetic markers on our DNA.
Epigenetic markers, like chemical tags.
Exactly, like chemical tags. You see studies on this with children of Holocaust survivors or people affected by war.
Right.
Rachel Yehuda's work is really important here. These markers don't change the DNA code itself, but they change how genes get expressed, especially genes linked to stress hormones, like cortisol. So think about it. What was maybe an essential survival trait for an ancestor, like being hypervigilant or always needing the group's okay to stay safe?
That now shows up as me freaking out over digital feedback.
Precisely. Or constantly needing to refresh the feed. It's the old program running on a new digital track.
No.
It makes the addiction feel less like a personal failing,
Yeah, it reframes it. It feels more like an inherited current we're swimming against, which actually brings us neatly to Carl Jung, doesn't it? This whole performance aspect online.
Oh, absolutely. We craft this polished version of ourselves on social media, what Jung called the persona, our social mask.
The highlights reel.
But the danger is social media makes that persona hypertrophied,
Yeah.
like overdeveloped, way out of balance. We build this perfect, filtered image.
Yeah, and then feel miserable because, well, our actual messy lives don't match up.
Exactly. And Jung basically warned about this. He said, what we do not make conscious controls our lives, and we call it fate. That fate, today, could very well be these unconscious ancestral programs driving that thumb to scroll, scroll, scroll.
Okay, so let's try and pin down the main culprits here. You mentioned 3 core principles, or maybe programs, that social media seems to hijack.
Yeah, let's lay them out. First one, the principle of social validation. This is fundamental. That deep, probably evolutionary need we have for, external confirmation. Feeling like we belong, we're accepted, we're worthy.
And online, that translates directly into chasing likes, comments, views, followers, all that stuff. So the person checking their phone every 5 minutes after posting something, that anxiety isn't just disappointment. It's tapping into that older program, right? Feeling like they're lacking crucial approval, maybe like a kid needing parental approval or an ancestor needing the tribe leader's nod.
Precisely. Okay, second one. The fear of missing out, FOMO. That constant low-level anxiety that you're missing crucial information, that something important is happening without you.
Ah, FOMO. We all know that one.
Right. And psychogenetically, this links back. It's likely connected to transgenerational programs where, for our ancestors, being in the know was literally about survival. Missing key information could be dangerous.
So the person today who feels overwhelmed, constantly refreshing news feeds, social feeds, maybe even stock tickers, they're basically running an old survival script.
In a way, yeah. Running an old danger alert program on a modern, high-speed digital loop, fearing being out of the loop or behind the trend.
Okay, and the third one?
The third one is the program of constant assessment and comparison. This is that relentless tendency to measure our own lives, our own reality, often the messy behind-the-scenes reality, against the curated, idealized images we see online.
Ugh. Yeah, this one feels very present.
It's often fueled by, or echoes, family dynamics too. Maybe explicit messages like, you must be successful and show it. Or unspoken pressures to achieve, to measure up, to maintain a certain status.
So that moment you're scrolling, you see someone's perfect vacation pic or amazing career announcement, and you get that sudden, sharp pang of inadequacy or feeling like a failure. Even if your own life is actually pretty good, that's this program kicking in the inherited comparison matrix.
Exactly. It's powerful.
Okay, this framework, McLuhan, Jung, these three core programs, it makes a lot of sense. And now that we've sort of laid out this deeper theoretical groundwork, we really want to bring you, the listener, into this. We're curious. Do you recognize yourself in any of this? Which of these ancestral programs, the need for validation, the fear of missing out, or that constant comparison feels most active for you?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your experiences.
Please share your thoughts, your stories in the comments below. Seriously, your input is huge. It helps other people listening realize they're definitely not alone in struggling with this stuff. And, we'll be highlighting some of the most insightful comments in future deep dives. It makes you a real part of this conversation.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's shift gears slightly. Let's move from the abstract theory to 5 very concrete problems we see playing out every day because of this intersection where McLuhan's medium meets our psychogenetic wiring.
Right. Problem number 1, the race for likes. Basically, life becomes this constant performance. It's exhausting.
And that's the hypertrophy of Jung's persona we talked about, right? The digital self just takes over.
Yeah.
And is driven by that deep social validation program.
Yeah. Problem 2, information addiction, driven by FOMO. Our brains feel overloaded. Concentration just plummets.
And that's the inherited program of FOMO in overdrive. It comes from ancestors needing quick info in a crisis, but now it just manifests as, well, an inability to focus on anything that takes time.
Problem 3, the ideal life trap, that constant comparison. Feeling like you're never quite measuring up because you're comparing your reality to someone else's curated highlight reel.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Scrolling past that, impossibly perfect picture of someone baking amazing bread.
Ah, yes. And suddenly your own perfectly fine loaf, or just your kitchen, feels inadequate. It's that program of constant assessment and comparison just running wild.
Totally. Problem 4, distortion of reality. Living in this filtered world where mostly only the good stuff gets shown.
This feels linked to denial, maybe?
Yeah, or psychogenetically, you could link it to what we might call a program of secrecy or maintaining a facade. Think about ancestors who lived through times like political repression or purges where showing your real life, your vulnerabilities, was actually dangerous.
So building a protective facade became a survival skill that we might have inherited.
It's possible, yeah. An inherited tendency to hide the real for safety.
Okay. And problem 5, clip thinking. This is a big one. Losing the ability to think deeply, to concentrate on something complex, like reading a book or following a long argument.
Right. It pulls us away from that really important Jungian process of individuation, of becoming a whole self. And it might connect to an acceleration program where, again, for survival, quick reactions were valued above all else, leading to this modern, digitally fueled inability to just sit with complexity.
Wow. Okay, so these 5 problems, the like chasing, the info addiction, comparison, reality distortion, clip thinking, they paint a pretty clear picture of the challenge.
They do. But, and this is crucial, these are powerful forces, yes, but they are not unbeatable. Which brings us to the practical side. Let's talk action. Let's get into 5 key techniques from the Emotional Cipher method to help you start reclaiming conscious control.
Okay, action time. And just before we dive into the techniques, a quick practical note. If you want the full breakdown, like the step-by-step instructions, checklists, maybe for the 7-day plan we'll touch on later, just drop a comment below saying, I want the materials. No strings attached. We'll send that expanded file over to you for free.
Yeah, it can be helpful to have it written down.
Definitely. And also, as you listen to these methods, if you decide to try any of them out, please come back and let us know in the comments what worked for you, or even what didn't. Your feedback genuinely helps us refine things and make these deep dives as genuinely useful as possible.
Okay, ready for method 1. It's the social validation program Detox. The goal here is very Jungian. Consciously create some space between that digital persona and your authentic self.
How do you do that?
The technique starts with awareness. Identify the exact moment you feel that anxiety, that urge to check for likes or validation, then isolate the program. You can even say it out loud, maybe quietly to yourself. Okay, program always be visible and approved is running right now.
Naming it.
Naming it is key. Then apply a new mantra, a counter statement, something like, my worth does not depend on external evaluations. Repeat it. Feel it.
We had a client, Maria, right, who realized her constant need for likes online was basically her still trying to get approval from her super critical mother decades later.
Exactly. By naming that specific program, seeking mom's approval via likes, she could start to untangle her self-worth from the social media metrics. It's about disconnecting the wires.
Makes sense. Okay, method 2, the FOMO scenario rewrite.
Yeah, this one draws a bit from Detached, the idea of revaluing things, replacing an inherited fear with a conscious choice. So when that FOMO anxiety hits that urge to endlessly scroll news or feeds, first acknowledge the program's old usefulness. Like literally say, okay, program, I get it. Thanks for trying to keep me safe ancestrally, but the immediate danger has passed.
Okay, acknowledging its history.
Then actively create a new scenario in your mind, or even write it down. Something like, I choose to be present right here, right now. My value isn't defined by knowing every single piece of news instantly. Then maybe do a quick grounding exercise, feet on the floor, deep breath. Anchor yourself in the present.
I remember Alexei, the entrepreneur you mentioned. He was obsessed with market news nonstop. And he traced it back to his grandfather losing his business because he missed some crucial information way back when. Using this rewrite helped him shift from frantic consumption to focusing on, actual deep work and what he could control.
Exactly. It's about redirecting that energy. Okay, method 3, self-sufficiency anchoring. This taps into Viktor Frankl's idea that space between stimulus and response, that's where our freedom lies.
Finding that pause button.
Precisely. The technique is pretty straightforward. First, recall a specific time you felt deeply confident, self-reliant, grounded in your own sense of worth, completely independent of external opinions. Really feel that state.
Okay, got a memory.
Now, create a physical anchor for that feeling. It could be like clenching your fist, touching your heart, maybe a specific posture or a key word you say silently like my worth or grounded.
Okay.
Practice linking the feeling and the anchor. Then, the crucial part. Whenever you feel that urge to compare yourself on social media or anxiously check for validation, deploy the anchor immediately. Fire off that physical cue. It interrupts the programmed reaction and reminds you of your internal state of self-sufficiency.
Like Anna, the mother who felt inadequate looking at perfect mom posts.
Yes, she anchored the feeling of, I am a good enough mother, to touching her heart. So when she started scrolling and felt that comparison pang, she'd touch her heart, activate the anchor, it would short-circuit the negative spiral.
Powerful. Okay, method 4, unmasking the shadow in social media. This sounds very Jungian.
It is. It's an adaptation. The goal is to integrate those parts of ourselves. We suppress what Jung called the shadow, which we often project onto people we react strongly to online.
So when someone in your feed just really irritates you or makes you intensely envious.
Exactly. That strong reaction is a clue. Ask yourself, what quality in this person am I reacting so strongly to? What am I possibly suppressing or denying in myself? It could be wealth, confidence, freedom, whatever.
Okay. That requires some honest self-reflection.
It does. Then try to trace the root. Why might you be suppressing that quality? Often it links back to family beliefs or fears. Don't stick out. Wanting money is greedy. Confident people are arrogant.
Right. Like Sergey, who felt intense anger towards those flashy, rich bloggers.
Yeah. He realized it wasn't just anger. It was a projection of his own suppressed desire for success and financial freedom. A desire his family had implicitly discouraged because of some ancestral baggage around wealth, maybe fear of envy or loss.
So instead of just staying angry, he started working on integrating that ambition constructively into his own life and career goals.
Exactly. Using the trigger as a signpost for his own growth. Okay, last one, method 5, the free choice technique. This is very existentialist. Think Jean-Paul Sartre, existence precedes essence. You are free to choose.
How does that apply to reaching for the phone?
So in that moment, when your hand is moving automatically toward your phone, you pause. Just pause. And ask yourself very consciously, is this my free choice right now, or am I just following a program?
Interrupting the autopilot.
Yes. Then state your freedom. Again, maybe silently or out loud. I am free from the program of constant checking, or whatever program feels relevant. And then make a conscious choice. What is actually valuable for you to do right now in your real life, in this moment? Maybe it's talking to the person next to you. Maybe it's focusing on your work. Maybe it's just breathing.
Like Elena, who felt immense guilt if she didn't reply to work messages instantly, day or night.
Right. That was tied to a deep family program of always be connected, always be available. Using the free choice technique allowed her to consciously say, okay, that program is running, but I choose to finish this task, or I choose to have dinner with my family now. I am free from that obligation. It's about reclaiming agency in those small moments.
These 5 methods offer some really concrete ways to push back.
Yeah, and to help you kind of integrate these, we often suggest a simple structure. Maybe start with day 1, just focused on awareness, keeping a little diary of when you reach for your phone and what program feels like it's running. Then gradually introduce the techniques over a week, maybe culminating in day 7, where you really try to practice that free choice technique consciously throughout the day.
That sounds manageable, but it's important to add a note of caution here, isn't it? Working with this stuff, these deeper patterns.
Absolutely. Look, when you start digging into psychogenetic patterns, sometimes difficult emotions or even painful memories can come up. It's part of the process for some people.
So if you find yourself experiencing really severe anxiety or persistent low mood, depression, or certainly any suicidal thoughts while doing this work, please pause. Reach out and seek support from a qualified therapist or a mental health professional immediately. This work is meant to empower, not overwhelm.
Well said. It's crucial. And for those who feel ready and want to explore these ideas further, maybe dig deeper into the theory.
Yeah, any recommended resources?
Definitely. 3 key ones come to mind. First, Ansel and Schützenberger's book, The Ancestor Syndrome. It's a foundational text in practical transgenerational psychology. Really insightful.
Okay, the ancestor syndrome.
Second, Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief. He does a fantastic job explaining the science of epigenetics and how our beliefs can literally influence our biology. Makes the science really accessible.
Biology of belief. Got it.
And third, don't underestimate good old YouTube. There are some excellent channels out there that do deep dives into both Carl Jung's ideas and Marshall McLuhan's media theories. Great for visual learners or just getting different perspectives.
Great recommendations. Okay, as we wrap up, maybe a final thought to leave listeners with.
I think I'd go back to Jung. He had this quote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul."
Ooh, that hits home in this context.
Right. This conscious effort we've been talking about, noticing the programs, choosing differently, integrating the shadow, it's not easy. It's facing your own stuff. But that effort, that's the real path towards genuine freedom, especially in our hyper-connected digital world.
A powerful reminder. And speaking of connection, we genuinely want this to be a two-way street. What topics are on your mind? What worries you most that you'd like us to tackle in a future deep dive? Seriously, drop your ideas in the comments. Your input really does shape what we explore here.
We really do read them and consider them.
Absolutely. And hey, if this conversation today gave you some clarity, maybe a new perspective, or even just one practical tool you can use, could you do us a quick favor? Please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already.
It seems like a small thing, but
it actually makes a huge difference. It tells the algorithms, hey, this was useful, and helps other people who might really need this information find this deep dive. And remember, when you share your story or your thoughts in the comments, you're not just talking to us, you're potentially helping someone else feel less alone. Your voice matters in this community. We see you, and we appreciate you being here.
Couldn't agree more. So what's next? Next time, we're going to tackle something equally fascinating. How Nietzsche's concept of the will to power shows up in our relationship with money and finance. And of course, we'll look at the psychogenetic patterns that might be behind things like the fear of earning big money or managing wealth.
Ooh, that sounds juicy. Looking forward to it.
Me too. We'll see you then.